And a good day to you, you sons of bitches. How you doing? Welcome to the Far Reaches, the story of four crazy individuals from similar parts of the world who've all wound up, well, scattered across for different reasons, mostly witness relocation, I would say. Micah Wells, joined by Rawley Bigsby, Richard Bradbury, and Mr. Joel Curran. Together we are the Far Reachers. All of our friends and family are called Reacheronis. Welcome again to the Far Reaches podcast, brought to you this week as in every week by our good friends at B&K Auto Salvage. B&K Auto Salvage with over 1,200 used cars and vehicles in stock and a large selection of 4x4 parts for all your wintertime driving needs. B&K Auto Salvage is your Eastern Oregon one-stop shopping in the automotive world. And guess what, folks? We now have a special promo code for discounts on both pulled parts and a bump in scrap rates. The bigger the sale, the bigger the discount. Use promo code REACHER to walk in there and tell them we sent you. And it's true. Yeah, promo code REACHER for discounts on sales and a little bump in your scrap price. And that's our good friends at B&K Auto Salvage there in the Grand Ronde Valley in La Grande and beautiful downtown Baker City. You tell them the Reachers sent you, and they'll be glad to see you. So we'll kick this off as we do almost every week with our weekly update, or as Joel's called it now, the Reach Around. And so that's our little circle time to gather up and kind of give a little insight into our previous week and what's been going on. And Rawley, you look pretty in depth, and either you're neck darted and out or you're ready to talk. So let's go with the talking version.
Yeah, I was just filling in some
little red book
there while you were talking.
Whoop, whoop.
If I don't do that every few days, I forget what I did a few days ago and didn't write down some of the stuff I need to. So just kind of absorbing the whole inoculation, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Pretty much business as usual, feeding cows, and Kelly's still in California and has about 10 days left on her gig, and so just
cool. Well, that's gone by fast for me, anyways. Probably not for you.
It's actually gone by really fast for me as well. A lot faster than I thought it was going to. So,
what do you think's different about? You guys have been married for what, like 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, it'll be 3 years this June.
Good man.
What's this is probably the most time you guys have spent apart. What's the difference? Is it what do you do up there all by yourself? That's what I'm wondering.
This is a family show, Joel. Jesus.
Didn't go into that much detail.
Just pretty much the same thing I did when she was here, other than I have a lot more chores around the house and kind of, she kind of took care of feeding the dogs and whatnot and other chores that I take care of now. There aren't as many. You got half the dishes to do and half the laundry to do, so it's. I don't know.
You're basically a one-person man on a tandem bike. Yeah.
Yeah. I've gone back to being a bachelor and for a month, and my wife will be home at the end of the month. So
not a whole lot's changed except for you have more chores to do.
Yeah,
that's the gist of it.
It's a lot quieter. I find myself finding. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and books on tape and stuff just to kind of fill the void, because when you're up here, for us, we're not really that social, so most of our time was spent talking, or me annoying her, one of the two, having a conversation. And so it's there's just a lot less conversation, I'd say, is the only difference.
The silence is deafening. Yes,
it's actually been good. It's kind of nice, quiet, but it's that way anyway.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I'm trying to keep you on the good page here, Rawls, but you're not fucking helping me at all. Yeah. So.
Oh no, I'm looking forward to getting back. Certainly, nobody likes to be away from their spouse for very long. So
no,
just it is what it is, and she'll be home in a while. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's kind of the 411 on Northeast Oregon.
411 from the 541. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I guess Bradbury's still technically in the 541 too, I believe. Yeah. So we used to all be the 503, and then they went turn that shit upside down. That's probably Joel. Were you even alive then when that happened? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that happening.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way though.
What's that?
Everybody was pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, so in Pendleton, people went from a 503 number to a 541.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it went the other way, but
No,
that
if
wouldn't
anybody's
make
going to
any
have to
sense.
change and adapt, it's going to be all the, the rural a-holes just out there kind of
rural-
drifting.
the group that isn't very good at changing or adapting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Luckily, most of the switchboards were able to keep up with it, and Mabel, she adapted. And so, yeah, it's beautiful. Mr. Joel, what, I got a little insight and update for your past 7 to 10 days. 15 minutes. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just like Rawley, I think most of the week has been glued to the TV, either listening to political coverage or trying to fucking figure out what's going on with Bitcoin or my other stocks. I'm getting pretty reckless with my my investment portfolio these days. So I gave up gambling, and which means I've kind of given up watching football entirely because it's hard to be interested if I don't have money on it. I just kept losing too much, so I'll just use that money now.
Yeah,
for,
you're just gambling in a different
gambling
way.
the market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
You'll be ready for the cow business here in a year or so.
Well,
Richard's taking notes. Yeah, call Joel in 9 months. He'll be about ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that trickle down to the producers? Because I've been watching like commodity prices, including feeder cattle or whatever they call it.
Very much trickling there.
Chicago.
That's about a main vein. Yeah.
Is that if you're a cattle rancher, are you expecting to get a better return this year?
No.
For those of you at home not watching, everybody's just shaking their head like, no, son of a bitch, no.
That doesn't have anything to do with that.
Well, I mean, those cattle markets are what everybody bases their pricing off of, really. And then, of course, the further are you away from any kind of processing center, the fuck is that? God damn, Bradbury. The one time we can hear you, we don't want to. Yeah. Cheese and rice. Now I'm blind and deaf. Son of a bitch. That's
I don't know,
not fair.
if you're a producer, your prices should be 20% higher than they were a year ago, right?
And like those commodity prices you're looking at, that's what a lot of people get or thereabouts, unless you've got some other marketing program or you're selling direct or, some way. Yeah. But that's kind of what everything comes off of. So just like wheat and corn and everything else, like there's a local price, there's CBOT price, and that's kind of where everybody jumps from, and usually goes down from there, not up necessarily. So
Yeah. No, it looks like the market's up today from yesterday a fair bit, but live cattle are for February at $1.14 right now. So that's up about $1 from yesterday, 75 cents, I guess.
So what is the commodity that you actually look at to gauge, if you're going to have more money or less money to work with?
I'll let Richard answer that because you feed some cattle too, don't you, Richard? Yeah. So that'd be a better question for him.
You don't feed your cows?
If I want to see trends, I look at the live cattle market, the one that the commodities trade on, so I can see which direction it's going.
Richard, did you do something to your microphone? You're about half volume of what you used to be, or I'm still bleeding from the Star Spangled Maynard or whatever that was.
From the ringtone?
Is that a ringtone?
Yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah, whatever it was right up in my kitchen, but now we can hardly hear you. So
can't hear me at all now.
Well,
I can hear you pretty good, actually.
Okay, but not near as good as before. I'll just put it that way. Yeah.
All right.
I guess we can only have 3 of us. Yeah. Good.
So I look to the live cattle market, the commodity market, feeder calves for trends to see what the which direction the market is heading, and see what, and I compare it to previous years, previous quarters, and then I to price my animals or to buy animals, I usually go to the Fallon sale and check their market report, the Shasta sale, check their market report, and ask around. Or I go to the Western Livestock auction, the video auction, the last video auction, and that's how I sort of put my figure in the price for my region. So this is how I'd explain the cattle market as far as from the futures on. It's a good indicator of where you can think your price is going to be, but you have to realize that there's a layer of there's 7 layers of crap third-party guys that are going to take that money from the retail dollar, and they're all watching that price too. So really, in the end, you're trying to gauge if you're going to be up or down and how much is going to trickle. I don't hate that word, but trickle down to you. Because yeah, that's most of that. A lot of that doesn't get back to the rancher. I mean, how
big is the market? How many people, if you have 100 cows to sell, how many people would potentially be a buyer for you? Is that one outfit, or is there a bunch of them?
It depends on where you're going to try to sell them at and how. And this is some great conversation, I think, that we've been meaning to get into a bit more on the beef industry as a whole. About, do you go, like Richard mentioned, a couple local auction yards where you can just load your cows up and take them down there and dump them off, and they have sales and guys roll in, they're going to buy. There's video sales. They'll come videotape your calves, and then people from all over, really anywhere, can log in and watch them.
Okay.
So it really kind of depends on where you're at and what you want to do with them. And, you get creative, and if you can get them some harvested, you put it on Facebook maybe, or you do a branded beef program like Richard does sometimes, and you get more value hopefully than what's going on at the market. So that's I always giggle when people are like, oh, dumb farmers and ranchers. Like, people are tuned in with the weather and the markets and what's going on and marketing more than the average person. That's for damn sure.
I'd say for the type of cattle that I raise, there's maybe 100 people on the West Coast that buy them.
Mm-hmm.
If you get bought by any of those 100 people that can afford to buy the lots of cattle that I'm selling, those 100 people don't buy it, then they're most definitely going to Texas, or they're going to the Midwest. Last bunch of video auction cattle I sold went to Nebraska. I don't know if I said this last time, but I had to sign 7 affidavits because they were natural cattle.
Mm-hmm.
7.
Yeah.
7 affidavits.
No, we did a third-party verification last year. Those cattle went to Iowa. I think the year before that, I had cattle go to Nebraska, and the year before that, I had calves sold to North Texas.
So Richard, you're talking about selling calves as well, and Rawley, you too, right? Not bred heifers, or not just calf crop.
Yeah, selling your calf crop.
Gotcha.
Normally, probably for both Rawley and I's case, any replacement or heifers we're going to sell, somebody's going to be interested in, and wouldn't really have to send them to the auction yard because of the geographical climate that they're in. They've lived to be a replacement heifer. They're a good bet for anybody that wants to buy replacement heifers.
Mm-hmm.
Within that region. Yeah.
Yeah. That it's what a lot of people don't necessarily understand about Richard's ringtone again. What a lot of people don't necessarily understand is Wallowa County. Everybody comes here and they see the big mountains, and we actually have a very diverse terrain when you start talking into the Hills Canyon corridor and the Imnaha drainage and whatnot. So in regards to what Richard's getting at there, he's raising cattle that are acclimated to a high desert climate that perform very well on the forages and the feed and the climate that he's working in. The cattle that come from Wallowa County, they perform well on the native grasses that are in these steep, not necessarily mountainous, but canyon terrain. So there's value to those cattle that are just raised in that country. They're if they understand how to utilize the country and utilize it to its fullest, there's a lot of added value to that, Joel.
Which which terrain do you think provides a better quality of life for the cow? Would they prefer to be in like a nice green area like in the Wallowas, or would they want to be down in the high desert?
I don't know what necessarily Richard sees down there, but I'm sure it's kind of similar. I noticed that their forage needs change throughout the year. That they have, I mean, you'll see them browsing too if you've got the forage for them to browse and not just graze on grasses. So, and some of that is indicative of the strain of cattle too. I mean, you can take the beef cattle like we've got, or you can go get some Coriani cattle and they'll live on a rock patch, you know. So there's a lot of different.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a fun life. I mean, like Micah, if you were a cow, where would you want to be? Where would you want to live out your 3 years before they kill you?
Wherever the cows are in heat.
Depends on if I'm a bull or a cow. Yeah, you know,
You're a cow.
Then I'm still probably going to be around the bull. No, it's about the food source. It depends on. I was just going to mention, to tie into Rawley's comment, you know, your nutritional needs and plain are changing throughout the year, because most of the time if you're a heifer or a cow, you've probably got a calf either in you or on your side for most of the time. So, you know, that goes up and down depending on if you're milking or not, et cetera. So, no, I think they're pretty damn happy if they're eating and walking around and drinking water. So they're happy in most places.
Well, and I'm not sure, Richard, are you feeding much right now? Or are you turned out primarily still?
No, we're feeding.
You're feeding.
Yeah.
I know in this part of the world there's a handful of folks that have some low country that have year-round grazing. You get down into lower Imnaha and whatnot in the McLaren family, and they're turned out year-round. But I would say 90% of the cattle in Wallowa County, probably 95%, are behind a feed wagon for 4 to 5 months out of the year. So as far as what they want for forage right now, it's kind of whatever you're putting in front of them. So if that helps you out, Joel.
Yeah, so their whole campaign, Happy Cows from Wisconsin, they're just full of shit.
It's a campaign. Yeah, it's marketing. More power to them. Yeah.
I got to Russia about the same time that a little bit after the cattle that went on my ranch were taken off the bar. And so they were all raised in different parts of the United States, Texas and Oregon and Canada and Montana.
That was interesting.
Oh, kids.
Yeah. And definitely some of the cattle were more equipped for a new environment than others. I had some from Kansas. The ones from Kansas did the very worst. They were the best when they got there, but they almost all died.
Probably
What strains of cattle were you looking at, Richard?
They were all Angus, so it was sort of a controlled.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
The Angus out of Harney County and out of Nevada fared the best in an environment that was like Eugene in the summer and Edmonton in the winter. So
wow.
They adapted the best. The Montana cattle did pretty good. And then the Texas cows, surprisingly, they were able to hold their own, but they were a little confused for a while.
Makes sense.
The desert cattle and the range cattle sort of adapted and worked together. Yeah, I saw some interesting cattle behaviors that you don't see until you put them into a stressful situation. Like the the circling for predators and the leaving cattle with the nurseries, the calf nurseries. They all strategies. They were all heifers. Never would have seen it modeled, but they're all strategies that were genetically encoded into them and that they started acting upon when they hit a new foreign environment. So cattle are, you'll never find a much tougher animal than a cow. They're pretty adaptable unless you've bred them out of it.
Good point.
So,
Yeah. That's something they've been looking at for several years now too, is geographic EPDs. So basically this cow would perform like this in this environment, and it's going to do better or worse in a different environment based on where they've been from in their genetics. I think it's pretty interesting. So if you're trying to get those cows to go somewhere else, they might do better, they might do worse. And we sort of do that already on our own, but there's a direct correlation also genetically. I think it's pretty cool deal. There, I think in Missouri, University of Missouri, they're working on some of that.
But that's kind of what you do, Micah.
Partially, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we make the ACs, T's, and G's. Yeah, so the DNA. But, yeah, so it's not a, when we talk about cattle prices and markets, it's based off of that. It's regional as well. And then, if you can find another different or another way to sell to somebody else directly, then that's always what you're looking for. And then I talk about it a lot, but these specialty beef programs or branded beef, they try to find another way to capture more of the value and pass the money back to them for what they're doing. So it's a pretty cool deal.
It's a hustle, baby.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, if you're not planning 3 years down the road, you're behind, because that's about how long it takes to make hamburger. So that is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Did we get sidetracked?
That's perfect, because Joel's like, "Hey, I'm thinking about changing my gambling patterns," and Richard's like, "You might be able to be a rancher then." Yeah. Anything else, Mr. Joel?
No, it's that.
Richard.
I relinquish my time.
The gentleman from New York relinquishes to the man from Lake County.
It was Richard's birthday this week, so that was fun for everybody.
Oh, R-Cube.
Yep.
Outstanding.
He's already migrated down to California, so
He sent himself to graze for the winter, did you?
yeah. So he actually made it down there before the calves, so his gain will be a little better.
How old is he now?
3.
Oh, outstanding.
Yes, he has opinions now. Probably talked about that last time.
Yeah, I think we did. I forgot.
For a few years, they mostly just require you feed them and keep them safe, and then they hang out in the backseat of the pickup and are mostly quiet except when they need to change, and then all of a sudden they start forming opinions and letting you know about it. Sort of a surreal transition. So
wait a minute, I'm having a conversation with my son right now. Yeah.
Very much enjoy it, but yeah, it's a little odd. It's so yeah, I find myself explaining things and observing things through the eyes of a 3-year-old. So I think that's always healthy.
Well, given the roommates you had in college, you're well prepared. So
same penchant for French fries.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Oh, that's funny.
We're getting our calves out of here. This has been a rough year for the California not getting the grass that it needed, and so it's delayed the old movement of cattle around the West Coast considerably. So we were going to send some of the grass-fed cattle to California, but that's been rearranged, and they're just going to go straight to Idaho because the feed's better in Idaho right now than it is in California. I got a go down to California here in a couple days, but yeah, it was we were expecting them all to go, and so we've been hanging on to them, feeding them feed. They've been eating us out of house and home, and what else exciting happened? Just busy. It's been a I hate that word. I can't use that word, but it's been the hustle is real. It's been nonstop for. I still feel like I'm in December 2020 because it doesn't seem like the tasks for December are over yet. So
Yes, they're still glomming on quite profoundly. It's December 95th or whatever it is now. Yeah.
but I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train.
It's a train. Yeah.
So
How about your other day job? How's your other day job going?
Good. There's not many houses left in Lakeview to sell, so we're selling the ones that we got left, but that's good. And hopefully here when we'll go pick up Richard and spend a little time in the Golden State and eat some fresh food and have a little break and then get back to her.
You need to start like a nasty rumor, get people to put their houses on the market, get out of town.
I
So
think
you
that's
can
what
just recycle them. It's market manipulation, man. I don't think anybody's going to enforce that at Lake
it's
County level.
Actually, real estate terms for that. It's called redlining and blockbusting. So yeah, those.
Isn't redlining like a racial thing, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
Just don't kick out the natives, like the Native American in town.
hard to.
You'll be fine.
I'm not going down this path. It's just fraught with
You're a
Wow.
businessman. I thought you'd want to hear a business idea.
That's a business.
Simple nut would be fun.
Joel's business ideas. That's a whole other spring off of the podcast. Joel, what do you got for us this week? Well, let me tell you something now. Again, it's not illegal till you get caught. So, catching comes before hanging. So here's what I'm thinking, boys. Yeah. This week of ethics schmeckics.
There's plenty of nasty rumors going around Lakeview anyways.
Do tell.
They've been working on for a while, just laid off half of its staff on Friday.
The what did?
The Red Rock, the biogen plant.
Oh, well, son of a bocce.
They're not even close to finishing the plant. They're burning through $1 million a week. So I think they burned through the money their investors gave them. So it doesn't look good for the biogen in Lake County. And then our local prison, which we never voted to have in the first place back in the 90s, going to be shut down. So,
oh wow,
that's 18% of the workforce. And then the Red Rock is, I don't know what it was going to be, but it was being close to 18. So really, nothing really changed in Lakeview. It's just back to where it was.
Forest Service, BLM, or ranching. Yeah.
Yep. And a little bit of timber. Collins is still hanging in there.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Actually, they're busier this year than they've been in years.
For now. Well, they were. Yeah. We shall see by the swipe of a pen.
I just got an alert on my screen that a guy got shot and killed charging at a police officer with a knife just a moment ago in the Bronx. So keep your eyes open in the coming days for the news and the protests, which.
No, but they already said he had a knife in the update, so he wasn't unarmed, innocent, or everything else you might put on it. They already ruined him and said,
"Well,
he had a knife.
Having a knife doesn't matter anymore."
No, but they've already admitted it. I mean, every other time they've always been unarmed blank person that gets shot, even though they see it in the video. But
that was back in the old days. Now,
sorry.
Now you can have
now there's no more COVID banner on the screen anymore, and it's just fucking kumbaya. So that's good.
The point is, the election already happened, so nobody's going to say a fucking word about this one.
I don't know. Antifa was I know Antifa is just an idea. It's not really a thing. They were kicking ass in Portland this weekend. Yeah. Last night, actually. Yeah. Oh, and they attacking the Democratic Party of Oregon's headquarters. So
they did.
Is that protest related shooting, or was it just a random dude?
I don't know. I didn't open the article. Just said the headline.
So there's still time to formulate that. Yeah.
So it's not even a headline. It just happened. So there's no the cop. That's like the alert cops get.
Oh, nice. You got a scanner
in the media. Nobody's gonna care though. That's the point. Nobody cares anymore.
Well,
they cared 3 months ago. They don't care anymore.
I say, if you're dumb enough, for me personally, if you're dumb enough to charge a cop with or without a weapon, you deserve what you get, in my mind. But yeah, you're totally right, Joel. Yeah.
Now that they have those protests again, I don't even want to give it the dignity of calling it a protest, but the Antifa riots.
Yeah.
In Portland, I think a lot of people assume those would stop. And okay, so now those Democratic leaders, what are they going to do about it now? Are they just going to tolerate it forever? You can't do that.
I have to admit it at some point, I believe. Yeah. What's that, Richard?
Challenge accepted.
I've got an answer for it.
What is it?
What is a good way to get rid of nuisance rodents?
Well, there's many ways. I mean, you can turn dogs on them. You got fire hoses. You got rubber bullets. You got gas. You got all of the above. Yeah. I don't know. A helicopter full of horse shit. That's always pretty fun.
Source.
Yeah.
I think.
Is there an answer to this riddle? I don't know.
I think a gooseneck full of Mexican fighting bulls would be outstanding.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a nice organic response. Pretty green.
Just open the back gate and sit back and enjoy the view.
Yeah, you can put some GoPros on those horns. That'd be epic.
Oh,
wouldn't
God, that'd be fun.
That would be, man, you could pay-per-view the bejesus out of that. Yeah. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, they were protesting for their freedom. So the bulls, that is. Yeah, I turned them loose. It's the only thing to do.
What's a vegan gonna do?
I think you're I actually the mean part of me, the vindictive part of me was giggling when I was like, oh, Antifa's still riled up and doing their thing. So I found that interesting. How much longer that's going to happen, I don't know. I mean, they were playing a recording to stop cease and desist that I heard on the news. So, that ought to do her. So,
yeah, there's got to be a period of time they'll wait before they deal with. They want it to stop now, right? But
yeah, because
they can't make it look too obvious.
Everything else is,
I don't think they want it to stop now.
Oh, it's still backlash and repercussion from just all the terrible, terrible acts. And they could have taken some of those 25,000 social workers that were in DC. Oh, wait, that wasn't social workers. My mistake.
Here, I'll make a prediction right now.
I'm listening.
In less than 90 days, we'll have troops on foreign soil in some new theater.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be firing up pretty quick.
Yeah, we're going back to war.
Who do you think we're going to war with?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
We might have to start attacking white countries now.
Lake County, cover your ass. Yeah.
Maybe like
but Ireland?
It's a soft target.
It's a tech company.
No, you know what it is. Maybe the answer is, and I would fully support this, like all these immigrants that are on their way to the border right now. I think they're coming from like Honduras and shit.
Mm-hmm.
If those countries are that fucking terrible, like what? Okay, we have two options. Okay, they're going to either come here or we could go there and fix it up. Why don't we just go fucking fix that place?
Why?
Make a place where they don't feel they need to leave there and come here. Like we could own it. All the resources there. Just take it over.
We don't want it.
It's not our fucking job.
That's globalism, colonization, or what I'm talking about. Like, hey, it's no problem if you want to come here.
Yes, I know.
Just do it legally and through the system. That's all. Like, that's what we're all about, man. Like, everybody came from somewhere else.
We could continue with the colonization of South America.
I don't think we want that. It's not going to go easy. Like, there's a reason that place is all jacked up. Just like basically everything that's not a democracy or a democratic republic, whatever you want to call it.
If you don't deal with the problem, they're going to keep coming here, man. That's the point.
The point is,
you build a wall and then don't let them in.
You make a system. Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
It was.
It's working pretty well. Yeah. Like let's look at Venezuela, for example. People are getting the hell out of there if they can escape, because that place got turned into an absolute shit bomb. What are we going to do? If we're going to make it so people want to stay there, we have to go basically take it over. Why? Why is that our job, man?
It's not a job. Why wouldn't you want the land? It's ours
Why?
now. We can have. There's probably
Well,
resources there.
We've never done
Venezuela
that.
is full
We
of
feel
oil.
bad enough now for taking the country we already have. Jesus Christ, and that happened 200 years ago.
Yeah, no, get over that. Get over that.
My point, totally. Yeah, I'm of the opinion like, hey, we won, pound sand, go home. But that's one of the things that people cuss about this country is that we've taken places over and mistreated the natives, and now you're saying we should go there and help them.
Yeah, embrace that.
Yeah, I mean, and it ain't gonna fly.
We should go and help our neighbors first. Canada, we're coming.
Yeah, you poor dumb bastards. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just take Canada too. Nobody's gonna stop us.
No, that's the point. Yeah. So anyways, Richard's prediction is 90 days from now, we'll be invading Canada or perhaps somewhere to the south, but probably with white people. So my prediction is Biden won't be president past April, probably, and it'll be commie. She'll be taken over pretty quick. So
well, the mainstream media was always already talking about his recent cognitive decline just since yesterday.
Oh, it shouldn't be funny.
It was like he was doing great for the inauguration, but this morning when he was talking about the COVID vaccine, he couldn't keep his numbers straight, so it's looking bad for him.
Yeah. Did you see the salute the Marine thing? Did you see that little clip?
The what?
He's walking in, and obviously he must have an earpiece or something, because somebody told him on his staff, like, salute the Marines. And instead of him saluting the Marines, he just says, salute the Marines. Like, either he'd been prepped so many times, like if you see a Marine, salute him. So he's like, yeah, salute the Marines, or somebody's in his ear, like, salute the Marines. Yeah, salute the Marines. And then he just walked out on the door, so.
Well, we were talking a little bit on text about this, and I defended him. And that I think it could be a lot worse, and it will get a lot worse. My point with Biden is he seems like a good guy, and I think you're gonna miss him someday.
Well, dude, he's already a complete conduit for everything that's crazy and radical. So he
That could be,
personally
yeah.
might be a good guy. Like I can't even say out loud that I'd grab a beer with him. But yeah, I know what you're saying too. Like he's the last of sort of the quote unquote old guard of politicians, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think he made it pretty clear day one with the stack of executive orders, who's running that puppet. If you crack open that skull, like on freaking Men in Black, there's a little Martian in there, probably dressed like AOC, that's running that thing. So, him or not, he's still the vessel that they put in place until, 20 to 30 days. And then, yeah, they'll roll that wheelchair down the stairs.
I always get in my time machine and go back about a year and a half. And I still wonder, what the fuck was wrong with Andrew Lang?
Not much, really. No.
Yeah. He was young.
Pretty smart.
Complete sentences. He was independent. Yeah. No,
Are you talking about Andrew Yang? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I don't think his basic living wage is very popular, but that's pretty minor compared to all the other things. If you look at that side, I think Andrew Lang and Tulsi Gabbard would have been a pretty nice party or ticket,
I think, do you guys, maybe you guys don't even hear about this. I don't know, but Yang I haven't looked at polls or anything, but I think he's probably a leading candidate for the next mayor of New York.
Yeah, I did see that. He's actually threw his hat in the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing all these videos lately, pandering to New Yorkers and like going into a bodega. Remember we had a word of the week?
Oh yeah, bodega. Yeah.
So
no, I think
that's corner store that was not a fucking bodega. It was
politically though, that's a great step. Go be mayor of New York, that sets you up really well to jump right to the presidency after that, though, in 4 or 8 years.
I honestly believe that he has the skill set that would allow him to go into a bodega, like, and not
Yeah,
look
he's
like,
he's fine. I like Andrew Yang.
not
yeah,
make it
he's
look
great.
like it was staged. If they rolled old Biden down, or Bellagio, or whatever jackass is the mayor now, and put him in a bodega, you'd know every little bit of it was scripted and staged.
Yes, no doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember when Bernie Sanders came to New York? I don't remember the story exactly correct, but he was pandering to New Yorkers in a campaign deal because he used to live here, and he was trying to relate, and he was talking about using tokens for the subway.
Even I know.
Yeah.
Even I know that's bullshit. Tokens happen at Chuck E. Cheese. That's the only place you see a token anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got rid of him in about 96. What's that?
Chuck E. Cheese just filed bankruptcy about 4 months ago.
Well, I bet. Yeah. I mean, I think what better place to build immunity than going to Chuck E. Cheese? Like, seriously, let's go jump in this giant vat of plastic balls and touch things that 300 snot-nosed 5-year-olds have been running around on. Shit, you're fine. Yeah, talk about antibody building.
That's why we're alive today.
Rumpf, dirt, salt blocks, chickenpox parties, whatever else you could think of.
Got the ambitious vaccine program rolling out now.
Much better than before. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I have to share. Joel, tell the story of the text you sent today to the group. Because as most of our listeners of yours probably guessed, we do have a text back and forth quite often that kind of fuels some of our conversations here. Most of them we don't drag to this segment, but we'll probably continue to do a bit more. But Joel, you want to brief everybody on what that was?
Well, I don't remember exactly what it said, but what I was getting at is Biden released in day 2 that a plan that's being praised by the media that he ambitious that to vaccinate 100 million people in his first 100 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so he actually got questioned about this today. I saw a brief clip. A media member asked him if that was ambitious enough. And he was like, come on, give me a break, man. Did that thing. But we're already at 1 million vaccines a day. So
yeah, that was your statement.
That's better than 7 million a week, I guess.
Yeah. 100 million, 100 days, way better than 7 million a week. So, for those of you driving down the road counting on your fingers, do the math. It's the same. Yeah. So perception. Yeah. That's been my biggest entertainment thus far, is just the different point of view and the fervent self-pleasuring of all the stupidest things already so far. So
how smoking though is the new press secretary? I mean, McEnany or whatever name, she was good looking too, but
I haven't seen the new one yet.
I kind of dig this redhead.
Oh, that? No, she's not hot at all. No.
I disagree.
That's fine. Yeah, but that's my rule on redheads: either hot or not. You ever see like really an average redhead? No, they're either hot or they're not. That's my hard and fast rule. So she's on the not
one of the
side.
hot ones. Come on.
That's what makes it spin around. The clip I saw of her, maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, but she didn't grab my attention either, I guess. But I'll take another look. I trust your judgment. I'll give another drive-by. But
well, with his staff,
I know for a fact you've done worse, Micah.
Oh, I didn't say I haven't. No, I'm just saying.
With his staff reputation, you sure it's a she?
Are they saying their preferred pronouns before they talk? Are they doing that yet?
I'm not confused about this chick.
Okay. Maybe you are. Maybe you're confused at another level, Joel. Yeah.
Tangly way.
Yeah, that's too funny. Oh, yeah. Micah, he, him. Like, have you guys had meetings with those kind of people yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Joel has. Yeah. Probably not Rawley or maybe Richard, but yeah, you say your name and then you give your preferred, is it pronoun? What is it? Preferred what?
Pronoun.
Yeah.
You got to get used to that. That's not going away.
It's not at all. No. Again, it's like, I don't really care, man. Just or person or whoever. Like, what do you have to say? I don't give a shit what you think you are. I don't care at all.
Shut
I
up,
don't either.
Your PowerPoint.
Yeah, I
Exactly,
don't either.
yes.
But it does. I think it does matter to some of those people. And all they're doing, I think most people that do it are just trying to make people who do feel that way feel comfortable. They don't want to push.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit if you feel comfortable or not. That's my other problem. Like, I don't give a good goddamn. Really, I don't. Like, I'm not going out of my way to insult you, but I'm not really worried if I do either. If you tell me, hey, that's insulting me, like, hey, didn't know, I apologize. But I'm not tiptoeing around on the instance that I might, or I don't give a shit if you feel warm and fuzzy, really. Like, I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't care, really. Are you working? Are you doing your job? Move on and shut up, really. I mean, I'm not getting a hostile environment, but really, I think that the fact that you want me expect to make you feel all warm and fuzzy infringes on me feeling comfortable. So where does this end? It doesn't. Just my
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what would make me feel comfortable, and I think everybody should move heaven and earth to facilitate it. I want some damn 9mm ammo. I can't find any anywhere, and I'm not comfortable about it. I really feel like I'd be more comfortable if I could.
You're not gonna find any for a while.
nope. Especially now, yeah. I mean, if you want to drive down to Florida, I can hook you up. But yeah.
Here's my thing. When I'm comfortable, they can be comfortable.
Precisely. But again, we've got to wheel off in the ditch. But it's just like, yeah, I'm accommodating to a degree, but after a while, it just gets to be ridiculous. Because guess what? What's next is my thought. Honestly, we've seen that happen time after time after time, and so we're continually, it seems like, focusing more and more on how somebody's identifying than really what they're doing or what they're about. I don't care what the outside looks like. I guess I was stupid. That's how I was raised, that we're not to judge on the cover of the book by what you actually get done. That's how I've always lived. That's how I was raised. And now it seems like it's completely upside down and backwards. Now, my first thing I'm supposed to do is look at you and either identify you or you identify how you're supposed to be. And I know it's backwards to some people. It just irritates the shit out of me too.
Well, I think it's important just to clarify that I don't think anybody's against people who decide they're transgender or like.
I don't care. Again, I don't care.
Nobody cares. What people care about is making the focus on what the pronoun is. Like,
precisely. Or that you get some kind of special ribbon because you get some special ribbon because of X or Y. Or I don't care, man. Like,
yeah, just leave it between the two people. They'll figure it out.
Precisely, Joel. Absolutely right. Yeah, and it's like, I got a wide spectrum of friends all across any kind of gamut you can think of, mostly because we just treat each other like humans and not any different because of whatever. If you're an asshole, I'm going to call you an asshole. If you're a good person, I'll do the same. I don't care about any other thing that you happen to be identifying with. So yeah, that's my frustration, is like, I see people, that's the first thing people talk about him. And it's like, well, that's an external thing. That's not even ancillary to the quality of the people we're talking about here or their qualifications. So I don't care. Like, it's completely reverse of what we should be all going for, is like not judging on any of that. Just saying. Yeah. That's my little.
Good talk.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to talk about that? I don't even know if we could call it a book. Should we talk?
Oh, I was going to give my update real quick too, but that's fine.
Yeah. Do that. Do that, Micah. Do your update. We all want to know about your week.
Oh, it's so incredibly exciting. No. Oh, I just found out today. I finally opened my first water bill and found out that apparently I have a tremendous leak somewhere in my system because, let's see, in the month of November, the previous owners filled up the swimming pool with about 21,000 gallons of water. And my usage from December 15th to January was pretty close to that for one person and a dog in a house. And so I called up the utilities company. I'm like, something's haywire somewhere, so we did some troubleshooting, and I had nothing on in the house and went out in the yard and found the meter, and it was going. So yeah, somewhere there's a shit ton of water going. So that was my brilliant revelation today, that now water to my house is currently turned off while I'm trying to get some questions answered. So, things are just running along smooth. Just be happy when things are running normal, I guess, is my little typo advice there. So that's it.
Sounds like a great week.
It was awesome. Yeah. One quick work update too, though. Tuesday, we had some potential customers actually board a plane in another state, fly here,
They
come.
crashed.
No, everything. It would have been on the news by now.
Oh.
But come here, visited, took a tour of our labs. We had a conference room. We talked for most of the afternoon. We met for dinner that evening. It was like I'm so used to doing business. It was amazing. I haven't done that in almost probably over a year. So it was great to have customers come in, you talk, show them around, do the conference room thing, draw on the whiteboard, blah, blah, blah. Take about an hour break, go have dinner, blah, 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 shake hands, close deal. Everybody goes on their way. It was absolutely beautiful. So I really missed that. I didn't realize how much I missed that, as opposed to, go to meeting and Zoom and et cetera. So
I thought you were going to say they did all that, then flew home and had to quarantine before
yeah.
the date.
Well, I haven't heard back yet. Yeah, so I didn't do the, hey, hope everybody's healthy. Actually, I think now that you mentioned it, both of them had the Rona at some time prior, several months ago already. So they weren't extra concerned, but still, it was just good to have people show up and you talk to them in person and go have dinner and joke and talk. And so anyways, it was a nice little remembrance of days gone by. So that was definitely cool. That was probably my highlight too, but just saying, we're going to skip ahead. So anyways, now it's time, as most of you have listened last week or to some of the updates in the week leading up to this edition, Rawley had the insight and thought to shift up a little bit in our weekly schedule. And he suggested we talk about a book as opposed to the typical movies we've done for the past, so all the season one, basically, we talked about movies. And I thought, son of a bocce, we all thought that's a pretty damn good idea. And so Rawley had read this book called Thank You for My Service by Matt Best. He was a Army Ranger and then went on to some other things with, websites and t-shirts and Black Rifle Coffee and et cetera and so on. So I think we all got a chance to get through it, or most of it. And I think some of our listeners did too. But Rawls, what led you to discovering this book to begin with?
Well, Kelly being gone, I found some spare time to listen to books and podcasts, and I'd listened to Matthew McConaughey's new book, and then this one just came up when I was on a search for book feeds, and this showed up, and it looked interesting, and I thought, well, sounds like went and did the preview on it, and it was entertaining, so I went ahead and purchased it and listened to it, and got a lot more enjoyment out of it than I thought I was going to. His stories, the life he lived, the things that he did throughout his service, and the antics that he was up to, it just resonated, and I found it enjoyable, and I thought our listeners and you guys would enjoy the stories and the humor this guy brings to life every day. So, he's easy to relate to, I guess, is what I really enjoyed about it. Just the way he approaches. I mean, if I would have gone into the military and been in something sort of similar, at that point in my life, at that age, I think that a lot of the antics would have probably been very similar. And he just has a really unique perspective and outlook on how he lives his life and continues to. So.
Yeah, I got the audiobook, and he narrates it also, I think, which definitely adds to the flair.
Yeah.
For sure. He does a lot of the voices. I think I always cracked up when he would talk about somebody he was interacting with or had spoken to, and he would do their voice. And very rarely was it what I would consider quote unquote complimentary. So it made me laugh even more. But he did it. That was an excellent part of the story, I think, and just I could relate to some of his stories for sure. given some of the Charlie Foxtrots that they rolled into, and I really appreciated his brand of. He writes, I think, like he talks, which I always appreciate when you're talking to somebody, as you know, like if you sat down, we're just shooting the breeze with him, you'd probably hear pretty much the same thing, except he probably wouldn't say the word redacted. No, I really, really enjoyed it. It was, it was inspirational at times. I'd laugh a lot of times, which I really like if I can just be listening to something totally by myself, walking down the road or whatever, then I just laugh out loud. I like that too. So painted good pictures. Great story. I think to talk about some of the ups and downs and, sorry, kind of too much of a good thing at times. I think he kind of realized where he wanted to go. And I really giggled when he talked about when he got out and, he was basically like a 23-year-old old man. I really giggled at that because I could certainly relate to that coming from the military and going to college. Now, granted, there's some times I felt like a really young kid, but also times when you're like, damn, what happened to me? Because I just grew up in a different way. So no, it was awesome. Joel, did you get through it or some of it?
Yeah, I finished it.
What'd you think, man?
I don't want to be too critical.
Go ahead.
Especially after hearing you guys talk about it. But
that's what we expected. Yeah.
I would say I'm closer to the side of like I kind of hated it. And I think maybe I would have liked it better if I actually read it instead of listened to it.
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
Because I did not like his voice and his timing and how he did especially when he was doing like a woman's voice.
Mm-hmm.
It was odd. It made me uncomfortable. He's just not a very funny person. Or maybe it's like I could, if I actually read the words, I would have this idea of a different character in my head.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. Like I was disappointed by it because I think I had this idea of who that guy is in my head, and then the actual person, I didn't like him. Seemed kind of like a douchebag a little bit.
There was times. Oh, he fully admits at times he's full on douchebag. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was talking about his YouTube videos, and I watched a couple of them. Like I fucking hate this guy. They're just not funny at all.
That's awesome, dude. That's
but he's
so
trying. He's trying so hard with like goofball comedy.
I
don't know. Just
he gets to his YouTube videos today. I watched the promo or commercial, if you will, for his book, and that made me giggle. Yeah, but
my favorite parts were he would describe like his action in Iraq and really did a great job of describing what that's like. I like that stuff a lot, but I didn't. His stateside stuff was.
I think my personal take on that is, I think when you go through what those guys at that level went through and saw what they saw and did what they did, you have to find humor in it, and it can become unappealing to civilized folks. I mean, because they did shit that you or I'd never imagined of. And this is just my opinion, but I think that the struggles that they continue to probably go through doing what the things they did, they have to make light of every situation in a fucked up manner almost for some people, And maybe I'm wrong in thinking that, but having been around one other guy that was basically on a par with what he did, I see a lot of similarities in humor.
Yeah,
the things, the way they cope with it. For
sure. I think what Joel was saying, like he just didn't really like the guy's voice of the book or personality per se, not necessarily.
Yeah.
But
he comes across as an arrogant dick, which that's kind of a operator way almost. I think they have to. I don't think they have to be arrogant. They have to be confident. And
sure as hell helps. Yeah.
Also, a very common personality trait in the oil field.
Oh, I bet so. Yeah.
Say that again.
it's a very common personality trait in the oil field also.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I thought it was an enjoyable book, and I actually appreciate Joel's perspective, because it's not going to resonate with everybody, and that's kind of I'm glad you have that perspective on it, Joel.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think it's great. Just like we don't resonate with everybody. Thank God. How messed up would that be? I took mostly, I liked his story and his journey and his attitude about what he did. And I guess some of the times, even probably looking back on it now, he was ability to be honest with himself about what he was really doing. Probably, obviously, like all of us, it takes us a while to admit that. But I thought that was cool too. So to get to where he's at now and doing what he's doing, chasing their passion, basically, was the part that spoke to me probably the loudest. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, it's like us. It's not for everybody. So.
Go ahead, Richard.
I've always been amazed by people in the military, and that I think the takeaway from the end of the book wasn't what I expected it to be, because I expected to hear a lot more about Black Rifle Coffee, and he's a pretty he's on a lot of business shows, and is pretty sort of sought after voice in the business world, especially on veterans affairs. But I always found it fascinating that and this was before I read the book, that you can send 10 different people into a conflict zone and come out with 10 different types of reactions. And like he says in the book, the only veterans that anybody ever talks about are the ones that are PTSD, suicidal, wounded. There is a huge percent of people that serve in the military, and while their brain was probably rewired to a certain extent, it was like water off their back, and they just moved on with their life. And I think that probably your ability to handle a war zone is probably more of a genetic thing than or an environment thing or something. But some people are just going to see that stuff as and I think he's one of those people. I mean, some people just truly love that warrior ethos, and I've really got to, you can call a guy a douche, but when you put in the training time so that you can shoot with two hands equally proficiently, that is absolutely amazing. I have no doubt that his tactical abilities were second to none, because if you're a shit soldier, nobody redacts your shit. Nobody cares about it. So
you mentioned something there, Richard, that before I forget it, what he did at one point in the book, it kind of presented a different perspective that I never really thought about. I think when people come back and they could have they could have a bunch of reactions, but two common ones might be the PTSD, and you're thinking, well, you're shell shocked. Maybe there's a big group of those people, but then there's also people like him. They come back here and they don't have PTSD from shell shock. They kind of have it from the lack of the pheromones or whatever happens to you from the camaraderie. So he missed that so much. I think that's probably its own
absolutely
case
two
where
things.
it needs to be deprogrammed.
Oh, 100%. You're missing two things. You're missing intense structure, which you have at all times in the military, and that camaraderie and that common, no matter what it is, that everybody's doing basically the same thing. And so when it's really weird when you come home, even on leave, because it's completely different. Like, you still keep your own internal schedule like you would if you were your last place, basically. And it's weird to be alone also, because you so rarely are. And you don't have that group of people that can talk exactly like you and had that intense experience that you had also. So yeah, it's all things being equal, coming home out of that, there's a lot of adjustment, and they've done a lot to helping that transition, but it's still, you miss that. Yeah.
I think it's interesting to hear about his experience too, that dynamic where he is, in a lot of ways, he's way more mature than his peers that didn't go that route. And the peers are completely oblivious to what he's been through. But I think it's interesting to like hear accounts about how those people in the military react to regular people. And it's usually not very favorable. And I don't know if that's completely fair. Like to, feel stupid. Okay, yeah, you went to war. That's incredible. But I don't know. They just have kind of an aura of like, I'm better than you are. In a lot of ways they are, and they're more mature. But I just think
it's just two different worlds
dynamic.
Really clashing together that have been the same and like two vastly different experiences. That's just.
Sorry, Micah.
No, that was in.
Here's what I've learned. I've worked with a lot of military guys. And yeah, we do have that sort of condescending dick tactical thing. And the secret of this is in the title of the book. They'll browbeat you with that military service until you tell them to F off. They get the message pretty clear. I'm like, I appreciate that you went over and you served your time and went in the military, but hey, welcome back to the civilian world.
Yeah, you're in my world now, Grandma. Yeah, so.
But I didn't know this, but basically when you thank a veteran for his service, it's basically telling you to fuck off. They're to fuck off. And I just read a book just previous to this book where that's the first time I learned that. And I always felt bad. Like, I always thought that was sort of a generic thing to say. So I don't really bring up military service unless, if it's Veterans Day, I say, happy Veterans Day, or not happy. And that seems weird too. But, hey, Veterans Day. You were there. But
we've all been we've all been through something weird, like veterans or not. Anyways, yeah.
But the thank you for your service thing, like, if you really want to piss off another military person, I didn't know this, but you tell him, like, look him in the face and say, hey, fucker, thank you for your service. And that's like the ultimate kiss off.
I didn't hear what you just said. I want to know this. What is it?
Micah, I don't know if this is true because I only read it in the one book, but it makes a lot of sense. If you want to piss off another military person, you say, hey, look, thanks for your service.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Oh, one military to the other military. Yeah.
It is. There's no real good thing to say is the other part about it, but yeah, it's that cookie cutter thing part of it. Yeah. A lot of it's really with how it's intended and how it's presented too, Richard. If you're sincere in what you're saying, it's not near as bad as some might spin it. So.
One other thing I really liked about this book was the whole chapter with Nosh or Ginosh or whatever his name was.
Oh, the crazy, yeah.
And
the Texas Ranger, yeah.
How many people would have known that wasn't the right path? I probably at his age would have thought, this is probably going to be screwy and not the right path, but damn, I'm here.
I don't want to check it out. Yeah.
And then the other thing that you guys made me think of is like all the the exit stuff when you have to leave so you can reacclimate back into. Heard a great interview with Jocko Willits. They said, "Hey, what do you have to do to integrate back into civil society?" He goes, "Nothing." And they said, "Well, you have to go to this thing," and he goes, "Yeah." They called me and told me I had to go into deorientation or something, and they said it's gonna. He's like, I'm not going to go. And they said, well, you have to. And he says, nope, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called, when I went through, it's called TAP, Transition Assistance Program. And I went to the morning session and promptly walked the hell back to my base.
Yeah. They have like an 8 a.m. session and half the people are late. They're like, good. You guys are getting
You're learning. Yes. I told you to pound sand. Yeah. I think also part of the, when you might get the arrogance or the quickness, and it's like, there's a lot of things that's into you in the military where you make a snap decision and you go. It's really black and white at times. And so oftentimes you don't have the tolerance for people to be like, well, let's talk about it. Like, no, it's we're gone. And then you move. And so that's one of the bigger adjustments from military life also is that structure, but B, like, we made a decision and now we're going. There's no dicking around. Like we might adapt and change in 10 more minutes, but we're not standing around bullshit and talking about it. We're going. And that's where people you can get rubbed the wrong way when you're like, you're used to making those kind of choices. Or oftentimes when you're used to making all the decisions, and then when you get home, you're not the boss. And so you have to put up with some other a-hole. So a lot of factors. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be tough coming back into the society that we have now versus what we had, say, in the 60s, or, you know, we live in a pretty soft society, and people are, they don't have the adversity and the extreme trials that those men are put through even in their training. I mean, they break you down to build you up, and then they go to a place where your existence is completely dependent on your team and the people around you, and you rely on those people and they rely on you, and you build a brotherhood. And then you come back into a society like ours that's so lackadaisical, and you know, it's hard to find. I would assume it's hard to find the kind of camaraderie and brotherhood and the assimilating into what is our society has got to be just a pain in the ass.
It's always been that way. I think about when people came back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
I guess maybe World War II, when they came back, everybody was super excited and somewhat different because they needed.
You talk about coming back from the world wars and whatnot. There was no PTSD then. There was no. People came back with problems.
Oh yeah.
But you didn't have the chance to have a touchy-feely moment about it with whoever you needed to. You know, you come back and you went to work in the coal mine, or you went back to pounding fence posts, doing whatever you had to do to make a living. And and I guess it's just so polar opposite as far as what you have to come back to now compared to where you've been and what you've been doing for those guys. There's just no hardship in our society to speak of.
Yeah, but you don't want that. That sounds terrible to come back and from war and go pound fence posts. Like, yeah, and they did have PTSD. They just called it shell shock.
Shell shock.
Right?
Yeah. People were jacked up,
but I don't even know what psychology was in its infancy. I don't actually even know if psychology works, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Do people
I guess
better?
I look at it, and you look at the percentages of these guys that came back that were at that level, and look at how successful their businesses are and the things that they're accomplishing, because they have the tools and the motivation and the drive to do it. And I'm not saying that people in our society don't have that, but just the skill set that they have is so foreign to what they come back to and deal with in society is
it's also, I think, it's a way to cope by being so hyper focused on something and driven on it. That's that's how you've lived and survived and been trained. So, you know,
when I was finish, Micah. Sorry.
No, that was it. Yeah.
When I was at JP Morgan, there was a push to, and I think with all banks really, there was a push to hire the veterans, returning war veterans. And I know at JP Morgan they took that really seriously, and they hired a lot of them. And the rationale behind that is just that. I mean, they have millions of dollars worth of government funded training to be incredibly detail oriented and responsible. And I mean, they're if you can acclimate them back to society, they're the perfect fucking employee, right?
Well, there's a lot of jobs in the military. Not everybody gets to go be an operator. You know, there's a guy that makes freaking biscuits, another guy that mops shit, another guy checks valves on pumps, you know, another guy sweeps stuff, you know, mechanics. Like there's a whole spectrum, and even those guys have problems coming back too. but yeah, if it's that's where the GI Bill came from. It's like, let's get these poor bastards home. Let's give them a chance to go get educated and fine tune maybe what they've gotten done, or maybe we don't have a place for them to come back to right now. So let's send them to college. So yeah, it impacts everybody completely differently too, given what you've come from, what you've learned and done when you're in there, and what you want to come back to. You know, you're going to meet people in the military and see places that a lot of people don't even know exist. Some people do, but you know, it's a whole different world. And so you might think when you go in the military, I'm going to come back home and I'm going to work with Pa and do this, or I'm going to work at the bodega or whatever. But you know, you might end up in Thailand, or you might meet a best friend who lives in New York and you go work there. So that's the cool thing about it, I think, too. But it impacts everybody differently, I think, is the main thing. And it's always been a challenge when people come home from any sort of deployment like that, no matter the time or what they were doing. I'm done. Yeah.
Pick though, Rawley.
Say that again.
Good pick.
Yeah, it was something different.
Yeah, good gear shift for sure. I think, and I got some feedback from folks, just casual, like, hey, I really identify with, you know, chapter 7, 5 minutes in, you know, and I'm like, okay. And then I get there and I'm like, Jesus, that's weird. You know, that came from a woman who sent me that text.
Well, and that was one of the things that when I was listening to the book, I thought, you know, a lot of our viewers listen to us driving down the road, and this is something that they could do while they're driving too, is listen to a book, where you probably shouldn't be watching a movie going down the road. So,
well, I mean, yeah.
But it just kind of, I thought it might be one way for our listeners to resonate with us a little too, and something.
That's a good shift too. I think it's a great kickoff, for sure. And you know, we were talking before we came on the air, and reminding Richard, you know, he gets to pick the next one, and we're like, another book. I'm like, thesis, YouTube video, Pornhub. I don't care. I think it should be interesting for us and maybe who people who listen. So I think that's a cool thing to keep in mind. So again, for those of you listening or driving or watching, suggestions are always welcome. Also, constructive suggestions. I'll clarify that, but yeah, I think it's all about really this. What we've talked about tonight is really the embodiment of why we started Far Reaches and what we talk about now, because we've all had completely just interesting and unique opinions about one single topic. And I think that's the fun part about it, is points of it we agree on, points of it we see differently, points of it we point out like, shit, I hadn't even thought about that. And yet we talk it through and come out the other side and be like, oh, that was fun. And I think that's the key part about why we do what we do, and how we talk when we're on this or when we're not is basically the exact same. So I think that's the cool part too. And it's just a great exercise, I think, to kind of reinforce that in my mind, especially that this is how we look at stuff. It's cool. Just saying.
We need more disagreements, maybe.
Well, damn it. Let's think. We'll get there. Don't worry. We're going to circle back. Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, I think we do disagree. The point is that we don't get in big ass fights about it.
No. I mean, like, I don't see it that way, or most. I think we always kind of ask too, like, well, why? Or we listen when we say, I think that was bullshit, or I don't agree, and because of this, I think that's a great point, Joel. Is that's the exercise that I think we've all been derelict in one point or other of having is, oh, interesting. Okay. Why? Cool. I didn't see it that way, but now that you mentioned it, I can see it on this component, or maybe I don't, or maybe like, no. Well, redhead conversation, for example, I don't think she's hot. You think she is. That's what makes it spin around. So, you know, we can't all be chasing the same redhead press secretary. So, but I will go back and take another look. Just see, you know, how we're still, you know, mind melding. So
I like how there was that one letter we had that said, I enjoy listening to the show, even though I disagree with Joel most of the time.
Yeah. Dude, that's like talk radio. That's like why most people listen is because they disagree with the host. They're actually a more loyal listener than people who always agree, I think. So
So I've never been wrong. So.
exactly. I thought I was once, but turns out, anyways.
They're dumb listeners.
Yeah, that's it too. They're, I wouldn't be friends with anybody who listened to us anyway. So that I think is a perfect segue, absolutely perfect segue into our intellectual moment of the week, brought to you again by our supremely good friends and nice ladies at Pendleton Mixer and Cigar, downtown Pendleton, Oregon. If you've never been there yet, you owe it to yourself to go take a drive. I think it's still true, even despite the rapid growth of Pendleton. They still, I think, have one of the top sales of Pendleton whiskey in the country. Always have great displays. If they don't have what you want, they'll most of the time order it in for you. You just got to say, I'm with the Reachers, and step in the back and take care of business, and they'll get you hooked up. So, stop by, tell them we said hi, tell them we sent you in there, kick the door in and say, good day, shopkeep. That is the official promo code for the Reachers podcast when it comes to Pendleton Mixer and Cigar, our proud sponsors of the Intellectual Moment of the Week, of which this quote just kind of struck me as funny, and I think sometimes we need a little bit of funny with our intellectual moments. And so I'm going to read it, and I'll see if anybody can guess who said it. We'll see how that goes. So this person here says, my definition of an intellectual is someone who can listen to the William Tell Overture without thinking of the Lone Ranger. Now, which made me laugh because what's the first thing you did? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. So I thought about the William Tell Overture. This person was in a movie. I think if I give the name of the movie, you'll probably give it pretty quickly. It's called Boondock Saints. Was the person who was in this movie.
Billy Connigan.
Billy Connolly, correct, Mr. Bradbury. You were my horse that was going to get that one. Yeah. So Billy Connolly, nice Scottish actor, white flowing hair, squirrely guy. But so yeah, my definition of intellectual is someone who can listen to William Tell Overture without thinking of the Lone Ranger. That's pretty good Scottish intellect right there. So it just made me laugh. It's kind of what I needed. So intellectual moments don't always have to be overly intellectual, but I do agree with that too. Somebody who could appreciate the music for what it is and not necessarily reducing it to its most bastardized form as a TV show theme song. So, which now I think I'm especially of the age where a lot of my favorite music and older music is on commercials a lot of times. So it's just one of those things.
I was thinking, buy a car, damn it.
Yeah, no. But thank you to our friends at Pendleton Mixer and Cigar, the inspiration for the intellectual moment of the week. We tend to have several, but this is sort of an official one that we set aside to make sure that it is intellectual in nature. So for those of you looking for some stimulation, let me correct myself, some intellectual stimulation, hopefully that hits the mark, so to speak. So we will be happy that we did that. So indeed. But that brings us, we have another, some more words here from our really good friends at B&K Auto Salvage as well. So still, for the time being, with social distancing rules are still in effect, and you have options, folks. If you want to go get some parts from our good friends at B&K, you can just call up, pick up the phone, give them a holler, order your parts, pay right over the phone, pull in the driveway. They'll throw it through the back window or set it on the trunk, whatever makes you happy. And be ready for there to pick up. Or I know there's some of you out there definitely who like to pull your own. And if that happens to fit you, come on in, have a little junkyard fun. And don't forget, use promo code REACHER for your discount on both pulled parts and a little bump in those scrap rates. So, the bigger the sale, the bigger the discount. And so how can you go wrong? Again, promo code REACHER for our good friends at B&K Auto Salvage. So that leads us right into the absolutely world famous Far Reaches word of the week. And I think Rawley is definitely prepared for this. He's probably searched his soul high and low, and I think we're gonna be dazzled. I have no doubt.
This is The word is oomph.
Ooh, nice.
OOMPH. Oomph.
I like it. We used it quite a bit, actually. Yes. We got a guess?
Can I go first? Yeah,
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
well, the word reminds me of oofta, which means oh shit in Norwegian, I think,
Roughly translated, yeah.
roughly. Oof sounds like another like Norwegian word, and it means to like a spur of energy. Give it a oomph, like yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of a constant amount of pressure, give it one big amount of pressure.
Just get a oomph.
Put some oomph behind it.
Yeah, that's how I interpret it. It's like motion or energy. Like, I just need a little more oomph to get over the hill, or lack a little bit of extra oomph to get it done. So I think it's like it's actually harder to define when you say it out loud than it works in my head. But Richard, are you Googling or thinking? I know it's personal. Yeah.
Reminds me of Bloodhound Gang song.
If you're just listening to this, I need to tell you that you need to go home or find a screen and get on YouTube and just scroll ahead to about a minute 25 or 26 or wherever that is. So you can see the facial expression on Richard when he just did. It's worth watching just for that and the voice. So you owe it to yourself. You can skip all the rest because it's just us, but that particular moment right there is video worthy. So that's my 2 cents. Ross, do you have an official definition?
Yes, spirited vigor
Ooh.
is
Right.
oomph. Joel was on the money.
Yeah.
However, there are multiple definitions depending on where you look. Another one is physical or sexual attractiveness. Like
Oomph.
there's oomph in that.
That sounds like
And
a
then,
Minnesota word. I think of like grumpy old man. Like, oomph.
Yeah, oomph.
That's Norwegian.
That's some
Yes.
spirited vigor too. Yeah.
I do believe I didn't have the origin, but it is either Norwegian or German.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So
Well done, Mr. Joel. Well done.
Yeah.
Using your big boy words and taking what you know already and building off of that. That's what I like to see right there. Spirited vigor. I tell you, wouldn't that be a great name for a band or maybe a chapter of a book? Yeah. Spirited vigor. Yeah. Speaking of which, are you thirsty, Rawls? Yeah. I'll have some spirited vigor right now if I don't mind myself.
Malarkey, do a little malarkey.
Yeah.
With spirited vigor.
That's a bunch of balderdash. Yeah, I think a brouhaha might break out if you're not careful.
You remember that scene in Fight Club?
We don't talk about Fight Club, Richard.
Yeah, it was where they're when the guy's got the big black eye and he's the waiter and he's serving the guy that's all beat to hell.
Yeah.
And they're like, exchange these knowing glances, like what happened last night. I swear to God, when I'm running around somebody that's been listening to the Reacher podcast, if they can't work in malarkey, it's a
That is awesome. That's code word, and you know that you're a reacher. Yeah.
Like,
what a bunch of malarkey. Ooh, give that guy a discount. Yeah.
First rule of far reaches is we don't talk about far reaches.
Exactly.
Which is when you do, you got to say malarkey.
The second rule is the first rule is a bunch of malarkey. Yeah.
So if you go to buy parts at B&K or at the Pendleton Cigar and Mixer and you don't like what they have, tell them it's a bunch of malarkey and you'll get a discount.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, and it is a mixer and cigar.
Oh,
yeah.
Mixer and cigar.
Yeah. I had to hold my hand up high and pledge that I would always try to say it right. So, I had a lot of free reign with that, but I have to say mixer and cigar. So yeah, that's a bunch of malarkey if you ask me. So
yeah.
That's what we need to put on our hats. I think far reaches, what a bunch of malarkey, I think, or something like that. Or just put malarkey on the back of the hat. I think would be cool. Or maybe just malarkey on the front with far reaches on the back.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Malarkey. Yeah.
Oomph.
Do a lot of spirited vigor. I think oomph sounds better. Spirited vigor sounds like something the Brit would say. Yeah. Did it with a lot of spirited vigor. Yeah, whatever.
I don't know.
Isn't the malarkey word, if I remember it, that's like the self. What was the masturbation word that we had?
Malarkey.
Yeah, okay. So you malarkey yourself with serious vigor. With some oomph.
Some oomph. Yeah.
You can't
Malarkey
find-
yourself with some oomph.
When you can't find a good reach around, you gotta malarkey yourself.
Is there a reacher around here? Malarkey, malarkey. Yeah, and then if nobody comes to your aid, then you know you got to pull it yourself. Yeah. So
Meanwhile, the listeners are going, "Yep, they revert back to 8-year-olds."
often after an intellectual moment, that's what's going to happen. Yeah. So, which is a perfect segment for our next segue into what we learned, which oftentimes I have to reinforce. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering, algorithmic in nature. It could be just 5 minutes ago that malarkey is one of Richard's favorite words, or what oomph is. But we'll kick off with Rawley about what you learned, man.
I learned that it's maybe becoming a thing of the past, but it's still a good idea to agree to disagree, especially in the political climate we're in right now.
I like it.
The oppositions in our policies within government are as far opposing as they've ever been, in my estimation. And you don't have to make him your president, but he is the president right now. So
Affirmative.
for right now.
Yeah, until Comey comes on board.
On that note, speaking of presidents and vice presidents and whatnot, apparently a private ice cream company in San Francisco has created a new flavor called the Kamala, and Nancy Pelosi is going to be eating out the Kamala. So
Now that's malarkey.
I thought it might have been chocolate and vanilla, and you had to eat it on your knees. I thought that's where you were going, but well done with the. I didn't see the Pelosi coming there. That's
yeah,
and nobody said those terms for a long time. I'll guarantee you that. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
that's a malarkey. Wow. Joel, what have we learned, my good sir? Please tell me something you've learned. You've just ruined ice cream for me, Rawley. Thanks a lot.
I don't know. I had something that I got distracted thinking about.
Freaking blew it out of your mind. Don't say it even out loud. Yeah, that's
Talking about Congresswomen getting eaten. I was thinking AOC, right?
word. Yeah, put that ponytail up, you little wench. Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know.
You didn't learn anything? That's fine. Shit, man. It's not. Yeah, like I said, it's not a test or something. You know, it's fine if you didn't learn anything. Just a little insight, a little wrap up. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
Richard,
nothing to speak of.
I like it. I think that's the most the first that we've gone with. Just nothing. Yeah, that's fine. Richard, what have you learned, man?
I learned that I could just not cope with Facebook. I deleted my account last night for the second time in 5 years, and just feel much better today.
Well, that's good. I
Your
appreciate you.
Your posts are still up. You know that?
Yeah.
Well, 40 days or something. But
I saw some woman yelling at you.
That's the thing. You don't interact. Just throw it out there and let somebody else spin around with it. But thanks for telling me so I don't try to tag you now when I put up the podcast.
I'm not gonna lie, Richard. I'm gonna miss your Cowboys Can Cook pictures that you were posting.
Yeah, dick.
I wish I could manage my how would you say it? I don't have the right personality for social media, I don't think. Because
I think you should just put it back on and just do the Cowboys Can Cook. You don't have to look at anything else. Just saying.
Just put that on make that far reaches.
I get sucked in every time.
So you're undisciplined is what you're saying. That's okay.
Yeah.
You've admitted it. You've dealt with it. That's fine. I'll start tagging Lena again.
And I don't like to use this word, but when I'm on LinkedIn, which is my primary platform, I put up content probably daily.
Yeah.
I see a lot of stuff that annoys me, but it doesn't like set me off. For some reason, the way that Facebook's made for my personality is it just pisses me off like nonstop. And I think like every time I go through this thing's been fact checked, I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Again,
And
I
it
just ignore. Yeah.
doesn't help that I fell asleep the night before listening to Christopher Hutchins' 2-hour dissertation on George Orwell. So I think a lot of
There
factors
might have been
played.
some
Yeah.
undertones. Yeah. Some subliminal shit, maybe. There we go. Yeah. Well, that's fine. We're going to miss you. We'll try to keep you in our thoughts. So, yeah. What have I learned? I learned that the inauguration looked a whole lot like the Hunger Games, almost too much for my comfort, but just going to say it. Yeah. So it's not original by any stretch. That was all over the media of the social type, but I did just look at it one day and went, Jesus, look at that. So maybe kind of giggle too. So may the games be in your favor, you sons of bitches. Take that for what it is. So that's not learning much. But speaking of not learning much, that takes us to, we had some Reacher mail.
Oh,
Easy. Richard just sat on his balls, I think.
my favorite thing. I love Richard now.
Oh, yeah. It's not many because a lot of them were like hard to quantify. But one in particular was, hey, we can hear Rawley. That's great. Well, for now anyway. So that was.
Do you know who sends these?
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
Most people, I just let them have some anonymity. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Especially that one, like, hey, we can hear Rawley. That's great. Well, for now, anyways. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
That was Mrs. Bigsby, probably. Is that your mother, not so.
Yeah, I don't think she even knows I do a podcast.
Oh, that's hilarious. And I can confirm that it was not Mrs. B. So, like I said, we had I just got like several random texts from people who were listening to the book, but it was just like, yeah, chapter 7, 5 minutes in, that's me. So it's hard to really quantify that as some comments, and that was from a lady listener, I'll put it that way. So it made me giggle extra hard because I think the scene was when he was walking into the high school party the first time.
Was it literally her? Maybe.
What's that?
Was it literally her?
No, I don't believe it was. No, because she was identifying to like not putting up with the idiocy and like just not giving a shit about the people there, basically. So, yeah, it's kind of funny, but yeah.
She banged Matt Best.
Yeah, but nobody was saying that they knew a Texas Ranger like Matt, so there wasn't any of that. But yeah, but yeah, we'll see if we get some other. I'm sure we'll get some more comments out of this one too because we've had some good interaction. And I think Rawley hit a good point too. A lot of our listeners, they do listen to us when they're driving, and so I think it'll probably encourage them to check out the book also because I know several people already have from our previous conversation. So we appreciate that for sure. And that leads us right up to our best thing of the week. Joel, you want to kick us off?
Hey, you want to know what the next thing is?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
If you're ready to talk about it now, we can. Yeah, that's fine. We kind of usually just plug it in here where it happens. What's that?
You saving that till the end?
We can. Yeah, we can do it right now. You seem like you know what you want to talk about and you're ready. I think we should take advantage of that. So go ahead.
I downloaded a book today, and it's 42 hours long, so I'm not going to make people do that one.
Okay, you guys got lucky. Yeah.
Then I thought, well, what other book do I really like that I think everybody in the crowd would like? And I thought about American Serengeti by Dan Flores.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, but I mean, we just did one book, so I don't want to overwhelm everybody. So I thought of a lot of things that I'd like to share, and I thought of the Hardcore History, Dan Carlin. Great podcast, and I encourage everybody between now and next time when we meet to listen to Wrath of the Khans.
That's not Kevin and his family at Roundup, right? Yeah.
No. As in Genghis Khan,
Gotcha.
or however you want to say it.
And
But
that
it's,
was who?
So the name of the podcast is Hardcore History, right?
Yep. Dan Carlin, he's an Oregonian, and listen to Wrath of the Khans.
How
I
do you
know
spell-
Dan.
How do you spell Dan's last name? Was it the C? I guess we can find it.
Yeah, like Carlin Pool, like Carlin.
Carlin, Nevada.
Yeah,
And what's the name of the episode again? Wrath of the Khans?
Wrath of the Khans.
Yeah, I got to say, you had me a little worried for a second as you were going through what we were going to listen, because you said, what do I want to share with people? And then I thought about hardcore, and then you said history. And so there was a little delay in those two words, and I sweated a little bit, I'll be honest with you, but I think we can make this work. Yeah. So
What are we doing? Are we watching a movie or is it a podcast?
Podcast.
Book? Podcast?
this one is a podcast. Yeah. It's called Hardcore History by Dan Carlin. And the particular episode is The Wrath of the Khans. Richard, do you have season episode perhaps available on that so we can help narrow it down a little bit more?
He only does about 4 a year, so they're
Okay.
long. They're not your average podcast. They're anywhere between 3 and 6 hours long.
I've listened to a couple and I really like what he does. So I might even listen to this one already, but yeah. So this time, Joel and everybody at home, we'll be talking about another podcast. And can you give us a little bit of insight? Is it really about Genghis and all those kids? Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
amazing. It's one of the I've always been fascinated by Genghis Khan and the Huns and all those guys, but and I've read lots of books about him, but I've never seen research and attention to the entire story like this one. It's he does all sorts of great history things, and they're all amazing. But this is probably one of the most single. I mean, if I was going to teach history, I'd make my kids listen to this. Any
Oh,
level,
nice.
any
Yeah.
level. It so much describes how Genghis wasn't somebody to be taken lightly. He conquered the known world, and he was a bad guy, and like he shaped what is it? 1 in every 6 people has his genetics in them. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it's widespread. Yeah.
And there was other guys that came after him, like Alexander the Great. What is it? Sparta, the 300. What's that crazy? The Persian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of world conquerors out there, but I don't think many of them have their DNA in 1 in 6 people.
Some people have tried to match those levels, but yeah. That's not why it's called hardcore history either, though, is it? Yeah, never mind. Yeah. So
But it's just the production value, everything about it's just amazing. It's a
outstanding.
podcast above podcast.
I love it. Always bring attention to some good
On
quality
this
stuff
end
out
of the
there.
spectrum is hardcore history, and then somewhere farther down is far reaches.
Well, not much farther down, but a little further down. I just gotta have a little pride in what we do. Not much, obviously, but just a little. Yes. No set schedule, no real topic. We just have a blast. That's the main point about it. Yeah. So, which now we'll shuffle on into traditionally our last segment of the episode, and we try to end on a high note, and a good word, if you will. And so we try to end up with what we call the best thing of the week. And so, Richard, you look like you're all chomped up and ready to go, man. Why don't you kick us off with your best thing of the week?
Best thing of the week.
Again, this always comes as a surprise to all of us.
Would it be champed up, not chomped up?
You chomping at the bit. I'd say chomping because I also say barbed wire. So yeah.
Champ.
No, you're chomping on it. Yeah.
Oh, I had a good. Well, first got rid of some calves. That's always good. Get them out of here.
On purpose. Yeah.
Last night I went to my very first socialist party. There was we all shared a beer, and we split up a loaf of bread. And at the end of the day, they all gave us $1 in what is it that you get cashier's checks from the postal service? It cost $1.25 to print. So that was we had some margaritas. It was a good time.
What in the shit are you talking about?
So yeah,
Join the town council. It sounds like.
Yeah.
I went to my very first socialist party to talk about the New World Order.
Congratulations, comrade. Yeah.
That-
May the
they
odds be.
also called each other comrade the entire during the party.
That's all the people that have been calling him all night. All his new socialist friends.
Oh yeah, yeah. They probably want something. Yeah. He's got the phone. Yeah. So, oh, Rawls, what about your twisted world, my good sir?
Best thing of the week. Gosh, I don't know. I got my my Christmas present arrived from my wife, so that was
Ooh, yeah.
probably the best thing of the week so far. I think that's I'll leave it with that. It's a thermal night vision scope.
Wow.
So that'll be a huge advantage to have when I'm calving at night, and fending off predators.
Makes me feel kind of funny, like climbing the rope in gym class. Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably the best thing of the week. That and knowing that it's only about 10 more days till my wife comes home. So
Good answer. Good answer.
Good save.
And you can see her coming now with your thermal scope. So
that's
yeah.
right. And no
You
sneaking in the back door.
you can hallmark her arrival. Let me put it that way instead of my previous comment. I retract that. I redact that. So yeah.
I'm gonna get bored enough driving home that she might actually listen to one of these episodes. So it's good you got that program.
Yeah, good thinking. Yeah. Just text it to her. Here you go, honey. Random episode.
Sometimes she doesn't say anything to me about the episodes, but I've caught her listening to them a couple times, and so I do know she listens. So
Oh, hey, you've caught her listening to them. Like,
well,
no, I wasn't. I swear to God, yeah.
I've walked into the room and she's had our cartoon voices on the air, so I know it's us.
That's awesome.
Well, you tell her not to be so shy. My wife immediately sends critiques to Micah.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to hear Kelly's critiques.
Stop eating, Rawley. Yeah, that was one of them.
No,
Yes.
I hear that one all the time. I'll catch that again on this episode. I had a few cashews a minute ago. So
I don't everybody says one of my favorite episodes is when you made a taco.
Yeah.
When I did or you did?
You did. I thought about that the other day. We should have maybe a cooking segment, when we're like, we're going to cook live tonight, folks. So hang on and get hungry. I thought that would be kind of fun. So who knows? We're kind of making up our rules as we go along. So because there are rules, and there you go.
Call them what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's Joel's turn.
It would be. Yeah. What do you got there, Home Skillet?
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Well, two things. No,
Outstanding. No, shit. No. Double barrel, man. Yeah.
I don't want to share one of them.
But no, do. You brought it up. You have to.
Just like that. I know you're. Yeah, maybe you've buzzed yourself to a redheaded. Oh.
The one I really wanted to mention was that I went to this place called 5 Iron Golf, and they have simulators and with the sport track, which is like apparently like $30,000-$40,000 machine, and a screen that tells you where to hit it. So I played Pebble Beach, shot a 94.
Oh, outstanding!
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, those are
the
cool.
other thing that happened to me. It's not the best thing. It was the most interesting thing.
So Dos Equis moment, yeah.
I've lived in New York about 15 years, and I've never felt threatened ever.
Yeah.
Here, never felt threatened for my safety. The other night, about 11:30, I walked out the door and go to the corner store and get like some chips or something, and this dude's crossing the street, same time, we kind of meet each other on the sidewalk. He's about 3 steps ahead of me. I thought this fucking guy was gonna. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get beat up, mugged, or something. Never have felt that way ever, but luckily it didn't happen. So it's
He
a
was-
moot point. But
Throwing that vibe, is that what you're saying? Or
yeah, it was just. I guess I just crossed a point where I've never felt unsafe in New York City, and then I suddenly did.
was it on like based on eye contact or how he was approaching,
Yeah.
or is it more on like what you just thought he might be presenting?
Yeah. So the entire block was empty. It was like 11:30 at night on like a Monday or something. Nobody out. He was a couple steps ahead of me, and he turned his head, looked at me over his shoulder, and just
Oh.
stared at me while I was walking by. And I said, "Hi, how you doing?" Like, this is
Hi.
awkward.
Interesting.
But luckily I didn't have to go that far, and I don't know. I've never felt unsafe here, and I suddenly did for the first time.
That's interesting. For sure, because you're not exactly a demure person, so maybe he was worried that you were coming up behind him.
Yeah, I was thinking like I think when your senses get heightened like
Yeah.
that, I think there's some truth to it. Something you should be. I mean, that's biology, right?
Yeah. Well, I
but I am 6'4", 6'5". I'm sure there's easier targets out there, but I thought maybe he was sizing me up.
could have been. Me personally, I if I'm walking down the street at 11:30 night getting chips or not, and I come across anybody, my spidey senses are up for sure. Just because, like, what are you doing, man? That's just me.
Yeah, for sure.
What took me until I was well into my 40s to understand?
You're not that old already. What the shit?
If you are 6'4", your trajectory through life is much different than everybody else's. And I'm just now starting to be sympathetic to that. And I'll be talking to somebody and I'll go, well, I guess this isn't a problem if you're 6'4". So what would be best for you? Never even made the connection that my life might be different based on my pure physical size. People talk about what they're scared of. I'm like, I've never run into that before.
Yeah.
Well, no, I haven't.
I'm still laughing about the well into my 40s comment, for God's sake. Oh, that's funny that you mentioned that too, because all of us are at least 6'2", right? Somewhere in that realm. 6'1",
Yeah.
6'2".
Yeah, and we're all.
I'm
I mean,
5'11".
we're all,
Oh, you wear boots or heels a lot, apparently. But yeah. I mean,
it's not like we're wafy little lads.
yeah, none of us are going to blow away, So yeah, it is excellent point taken.
Joel,
yeah,
you need to carry yourself more like a honey badger. Like,
Mhm.
you should really
Gonna get a bag of chips in the corner. I don't.
That's not very honey badger activity.
Are you sure about how he was looking at you?
Oh man.
The appropriate greeting in that situation at 11:30 at night is not hello. It's what's up, bro.
Yeah, howdy.
Yeah.
I'll throw him a howdy. Yeah. I don't want to be anybody's bro. I'm just like, howdy. Yeah.
I haven't been on a street corner at 11:30 at night in a long time.
And we know what happened last time you did. Yeah. So you woke up in a van down by the river, but
Yeah.
So now Joe's going to Costco and buying that big mega thing of chips, so he doesn't have to go out at 11:30 and get chips anymore. So. That's interesting, though, that to live there that long, especially when you first moved there, and you didn't really have that that concern or that feeling, I guess, or sense. Yeah, and I think you probably nailed it when it's everybody's a couple notches up, and there's two people coming together at 11:30 going to get chips. You're both going to be like, what's going on?
But that kind of brings up an interesting point, because you kind of get to a point in life where your cognitive awareness changes.
For sure.
And you know, maybe it's the exuberant amounts of alcohol through the 20s that you have in your system that makes you unaware. But and maybe it's the climate we live in nowadays. Maybe you just think that you should kind of watch your six a little more. I don't know.
I'm thinking it's because I can't outrun half the shit I used to be able to.
There's that. Yeah. There's
Well, not much
definitely
has
that.
changed for me. I could never run very
Yeah.
fast.
It's like fight or flight. Fight it is. Yes. So.
Standard option. Mind my own business an option.
What's that?
Just mind my own business. Fight, flight, mind your own business.
Just walk away. Like I ain't got time for you right now. Yeah. This.
You know what I did is I put my keys, because I was holding on to my keys. I stuck the key through my thumb,
Mhm.
through my fingers. So
Yeah.
it's like if he's gonna attack me from behind, I could throw a punch at him.
Maybe.
Is that a dumb idea or is that a good idea? I don't know.
Your keys through your finger.
Yeah, I don't
Thinking
know.
if I punch him, it'll stab him.
The
or
way you
it
have
might-
your thumb right now, though, would be very, very bad. But if you just have your key through there, that's
yeah, that's
good.
the key. My thumb is
Okay.
the key.
I thought you, hopefully, yeah, reinforcing that.
Seems
Yeah,
seems like it'd be maybe you could stab him.
it could be a deterrent for sure. Yeah. On the other hand, they might snap their key off in their cheek, and then they know they got your key. But no,
No, I can't get back in the house.
yeah, that's
Well,
better than nothing for sure.
If you're gonna probably want to hit somebody, the best thing you could probably do is like a pocket knife within your hand, because it supports your knuckles.
Mhm.
Something that like goes inside, and then you're not actually making contact with them, but it's darn sure not going to break your bones as easily.
Or let's be honest, swift kick to the knee or any lower extremity is a pretty good start too.
Yeah,
Because the only rule in street fighting is there is
there are no rules.
I'm the one walking away. That's the rule. Yeah. So just saying.
Are we even allowed to talk about street fighting anymore? Can't we get like in some sort of trouble for even talking about it?
I don't think so. We'll find out. Yeah. To see how many people are listening. But yeah, we can have street fighting techniques. That's good conversation there.
Maybe people are gonna take
Hash
4
browns. I
hours.
recommend hash browns.
Sorry for people who are listening closely. I probably made half of you deaf from laughing at the hash brown comment, but that goes back a long ways. One of those things that we won't talk about yet, but someday. So,
I think there's-
bastard.
Not one of the 4 of us has cauliflower ear, so I think we're a long ways from being street fighting experts.
Yeah, well, cauliflower usually comes from wrestling or getting just the shit knocked out of your ear. But yeah, I know my friend Homie probably has cauliflower ear from one of our boxing sessions in college, but that's a different story too. Yeah. So. Poor Homer Cleese. Yeah, it was.
Good time.
Joel, I need to send you a picture or something off the air that you might consider getting too for your chip runs. Yeah. Let's see. Best thing of the week for me is my good friends at Colorado Craft Beef hooked me up with the 2-pack housewarming extravaganza that got delivered yesterday of hamburger, ribeye, 2 briskets, a New York steak roast. Like, I had to rearrange my portable freezer to be able to accommodate this massive load. Well, that sounds bad when I say it out loud.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Thank you very much.
Stop with meat. This massive load of meat.
Massive load of meat that was bestowed upon me. So yeah, got some barbecues coming up. So pretty excited to get the quality items in there, especially like I got about 10 or 12 packs of ribeye. So I'm pretty happy about that. So yeah, we'll be having some briskets and some ribeyes, and that makes me happy. Yeah. Just saying.
Perfect.
Not to mention, yeah. Massive quantities of meat. Yeah. So that brings us pretty much to the structured end of this conversation. I know there's been episodes we've rambled on for 45 minutes past this, but as a reminder, we will be discussing episode of the podcast called Hardcore History, The Wrath of the Khans by Mr. Dan Carlin. And Mr. Bradbury is the purveyor of that activity, which also means if we stick to schedule, he will have the Far Reaches Word of the Week. So
Sure.
that'll give him some time. And again, he'll have that organic experience, and he pulls it out of his ass when he's sitting on the couch doing this. But again, we will thank all of our listeners. We ask you guys to send questions in, send your comments. If you got suggestions about something that we should talk about as far as either a review or a specific topic, or you know somebody that we should probably have on as another guest, I think we're always open to that too. We'll be having some more Far Reaches extras coming up here soon. We're all going to be doing some more of those this year.
While we're got listeners on right now, do you guys have any ideas just to throw out there for guests? Joel,
Yeah, I'm going to talk to one guy from Pendleton about music pretty
That'd be
soon.
great. Yeah, I'm excited to get that one rolling.
I think that would just be like one of those little extra things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the guy. You guys know Cody Jones, right? When I was reading this book or listening to this book, I kept thinking about Cody's experience, and he's told me about his experience. I think it'd be neat to have maybe come on and talk about it or something.
Yeah, good experiences.
Get first-hand accounts of the
plan
war.
on doing some sessions, either Far Reaches Extra or have them on for the gang from both of our sponsors. I think it'd be great for them to come on and talk a little bit about why they listen and why they put up with us and why they're proud to sponsor what they do. And so either be Far Reaches Extra or perhaps even with the full gang, depending on how schedules line up. So there's a couple of those. I think we're going to do a follow-up here in the next couple of months also with Amy and Shandy. They're doing their Cowgirls in Mongolia tour. So we'll get some updates from them in the coming months. Also how that training and logistics and fundraising, all those things are going also. I think that's still to date one of our more popular podcasts so far. Was those two maniacs. So that tells us something right there. And then I know also that the Brocker brothers, I interviewed Randy for the Far Reaches Extra. They've both expressed interest in coming on to the main group, since we've all got some common experiences with some of them one way, shape, or form. And then certainly one of the more common requests that I've got or statements, I suppose, would be we need a Pow Wow Far Reaches reunion. And so logistically, I'm not sure how we pull that together.
How many people can we have on the Zoom?
I think 100 or so. So we can do that for sure. I'm still not sure statute of limitations is up on some of the things, but I think by this point we'll probably be okay. But so
No, I think that
maybe that's something we'll look at. I think if we could pull that together for Memorial Day, that would be a tremendous podcast to have. It'd be the Pow Wow Reunion special. So
yeah, that would definitely be a lot of fun for everybody, I believe.
that would be for those of you who don't know what we're talking about. That Pow Wow was a Memorial Day weekend excursion for a lot of us when we were in college at Eastern Oregon University, I think now. And so there was quite the herd of individuals that would appear, and shenanigans did ensue. And so, there's some great stories and even some pictures and poems and T-shirts and such of all for that. And we actually had a reunion. It's been 10 years ago now, I think, since we had a reunion, wasn't it?
I think 09. It's been more than 10 years.
10 years since we had an official reunion. So yeah, a lot less sleeping on the ground for that reunion. A lot more kids at that reunion also. So there's kids at the other ones, but they were just getting made. They weren't really there yet. So that's a different deal. So
You guys are flirting with grandkids.
Exactly. Yeah. There's some people that still have nicknames that came from Pow Wow times. Spatula being one of them, and runs in the tree for another. So running elk shit and chili dog, and well, anyways, the list could go on and on. So something we'll ponder and see if we can get logistically lined up to have a little Pow Wow special. Along those lines too, we've had a request to have a White House reunion special. Also, the White House was the big house that Richard and I lived in college. So we'll check that out also. A few less people, but we did count up at one time that there's over 30 people, and I think that had lived at the White House during our tenure. So not at the same time, but if you look at the list, it is intriguing as well. So
Can you
That's
believe
perfect.
somebody didn't think I remembered how to make Swamp Thing?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
we should get somebody to come on and talk about, like, a business owner, come like a Semioti's or something.
Yeah.
Talk about what that's really like how what are the real world struggles. And then we get my sister-in-law on from the OLCC perspective. Like, what are you guys doing about this?
Yeah. Well, that's one thing to keep in mind too. Both of our sponsors are independent business owners. So we could get some of their insight as well. But I think they have Semioti's, or we could get Bert, I think, from Pendleton Hat Company, or there's some great options. I think that's a good idea. I think we could do that multiple times because it impacts everybody certainly differently. And it's good to get that. It's
But to
good
do
exposure
the
for their
news
business.
job for them.
Joel, you're sounding more and more like I hoped you one day would. Yes, it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, but no, the main point being, guys, is for us and listeners and everybody. Get your topics to us. Get us your thoughts. We'll do Love Line when you send stuff in that we can put on the air, and books, comments, concerns, such and so forth. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up, but we thanks again, everybody, for listening, all your feedback. We hope we make your drive to work or from work better than it might have been before. And, keep between the ditches and under your britches. And until then, just keep on reaching, and we'll see everybody soon.